Okay. So throughout everybody's daily lives, people choose multiple different activities to fill out their day. Specifically, college students. Today, I'm going to focus on video games. You're probably thinking, video games? Well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, let's take a step back and let's think. What do video games do? They take up time, but they also give college students a chance to better their communication skills, enhance their cognitive abilities, and when they have a lot of assignments or a big assignment or whatever, it can give them a chance to step away and check out into a whole new reality of the world around video games. So let's get into them. Let's start with a college student's ability to enhance their cognitive abilities. Okay. Video games are huge in this aspect because, for starters, there's so many different types. You can play a single player role game, you can play a multiplayer online game with teams, you can play a sports game, you can play a math game, you can play whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. The whole point is, when you're playing, your brain is practicing all of these motions, all of these different tasks or things that we have to accomplish. So we practice with our brains when we play these video games. We have to think. We have to sit there and problem solve. Okay. Not only with their thinking ability, but with their fine motor skills, like handwriting and texting and other things that they use with their hands. Uh, Gamers have the ability to just, their hand-eye coordination is quite phenomenal, actually. You'd be surprised at how many gamers can solve a Rubik's cube really fast because they're really good with their fingers, not because they're smart. It's just some of those things. Now, a student or college student can a college student can run into a problem where they're now procrastinating. Okay, now procrastinating is not good. Procrastinating is obviously very bad because we're putting off the assignment that we need to be doing for something that is not helping us. A quote that reads, "The time displacement hypothesis proposes that the time spent engaged in one activity prevents time being spent on another, a more fruitful one." While this is true, later in this same article, we go on to hear, however, today's young adults have had the opportunity to grow up with video games as a part of their mainstream culture. Okay. So, well, how does that change the fact that gamers still procrastinate? Well, just because it's a bad habit for someone doesn't mean it's a bad habit for someone else. I know personally, if I'm having a bad day and school is just the last thing on my mind that I want to do, just utterly don't want to do it. I know personally that what I tend to do is I tend to take 2 or 3 hours out of my day to just sit there, relax, check out, and not have to think about it. Nothing else matters when I enter that virtual reality world of the video game. So how do we then cross over the bridge from studying and their cognitive ability to their communication? Well, in video games, a lot of video games have game chat rooms where people can talk and they can chat about whatever. It doesn't always have to be about the game. I know when I'm in the chat room with my friends, we're not always talking about the video games. Some of it might not be very formal things, but regardless, we are there communicating with one another. It might not be face to face, but in today's world, we're not always face to face. It's just not how it is. So we practice these communication skills in these voice chat rooms. Another quote reads, "In fact, relative to a single player mode, cooperatively playing a video game increased cooperation in a mixed motive dilemma." So let's take a problem in a video game. For instance, let's say we're playing Madden. If you're unfamiliar with Madden, Madden is a football game based off of the NFL with players and blah blah blah. A lot of people know Madden. Let's say you're playing with a friend. Let's say you and your friend are playing against another two people. Well, you got to talk to your friend. Hey, man, what are we going to call? What play are we going to call? Which way are we going to run the ball? Who are we going to throw to? What are we going to do? How are we going to do this, that, and that? You got to talk to people. You got to have a problem. Find somebody who you can find a solution with and talk to them. Okay. Video games are huge for this. Not only are video games huge for people's ability to communicate through problems, but overall just their ability to communicate. A lot of college students speak English as a second language. Not most, but some college students have been from a diverse culture they don't speak English at home. It's just that's not their way of life. That's okay. When they get to college, they struggle. They struggle because half the things they don't know what the teacher's saying. So in Puerto Rico, a study was done on college students, and it says these informal settings, which are devoid of the evaluation and scrutiny of the classroom, help increase motivation, which is a primary goal for ESL, which stands for English Second Learners. Or sorry, English as a second language. It's a label that they give to the students who have English as a second language. Well, what does that mean? That means that the college students in Puerto Rico who need to learn English, but it's not offered as a class at their college, practice it through video games. They sit down in front of their monitor, in front of their TV, put a headset on. If they're not talking to their friends, they'll find somebody to talk to, and it opens up a whole new world for them. It's like stepping into another reality, and it gives them a sense of comfort. It gives them a sense of joy, and it gives them, like the quote said, motivation to then step away from the screen and go out to another person and have that conversation without worrying about, am I going to screw it up? And again, while there are still major disadvantages to video games, these advantages counteract our disadvantages, because it's very easy for a gamer to make the decision to procrastinate or not to procrastinate. It's very easy for a gamer to make the decision, am I going to go outside today and talk to somebody, or am I going to stay home and do nothing? It's very easy for them to make that decision. But it all comes back to the point of, if it's not a bad habit for everybody, it all comes back to, if it's a bad habit for someone, that doesn't mean that it's necessarily a bad habit for someone else. Personally, video games help me. Like I said before, if I have an assignment I don't want to do, if there's just something going on in my life that I just don't want to deal with right now, I sit down, I pick up my controller, I see who I can talk to, and I play my video games, because it helps me check out. And I know this works for a lot of other gamers. So I encourage you, even if it's just for an hour, guys, even if it is just for an hour, sit down on a chair, sit in front of a keyboard and mouse, pick up a controller, turn that TV or monitor on, put a headset on, turn that thing all the way up, and lock your door. Play the video game. Enjoy it. Let yourself be a kid again for once, and step away from the adult college world. Thank you.